So my husband, I just find out he's been living a double life, essentially. And he has 2 kids I didn't even know about. The only reason I found out is because we just got a new address. We just moved to a nice house. I guess he had a P.O. box set up before that, and they must have forwarded it to his new address, and I got an envelope. That was his child support documentation for the month. So I don't freak out. I don't even say anything at first. I do something nuclear. I get every bit of evidence that I can find, and I secretly make a new bank account. And I'm not going to tell you what I did to him, but let me just tell you this. His life will never be the same. I never thought a simple mail forward would detonate my entire life. We just moved into a nicer neighborhood after 7 years of relentless saving. The kind of place with actual trees lining the sidewalk and neighbors who waved instead of avoiding eye contact. My husband Marcus, he seemed proud when we got the keys, prouder than I'd seen him in years. I remember thinking we were finally building something stable. 3 weeks after moving in, I found the envelope. It was a Tuesday. Marcus had already left for work, coffee mug abandoned in the sink like always. I was sorting through the pile of forwarded mail when I saw it. A plain manila envelope addressed to him, marked as Child Support Division, Final Notice, in blocky red letters. My hands went cold. I stood there in our new kitchen with its granite countertop and stainless steel appliances, and just stared at those words until they blurred. Child Support Division. My brain re-scrambled for innocent explanations, a mistake, wrong person, probably the same name, administrative error. But then I saw the partial social, printed beneath his name, and the last 4 digits, it was a match. So how could they have the same last 4 digits and the same name as him? I'd memorized it years ago when we filed our taxes together, so I opened it with shaking fingers. Inside were a payment record spanning 4 years. 2 children, same mother, monthly payments sent to a P.O. box I've never heard of, Box 4157, at a location 15 minutes from our old apartment. The forwarding service had automatically updated his address when we moved, overriding whatever careful system he built to keep this hidden. I read every line 3 times. The dates clawed at me. One child was 6 years old, the other was 4. 6 years. We've been married for 9. I sat down on the kitchen floor, still holding the paper, and just tried to remember exactly what he had been doing 6 years ago. Working overtime, he said. Stressed about a promotion, coming home late, smelling like coffee and exhaustion. I'd been supportive. I'd made him dinner he barely touched and told him I understood when he was too tired for conversation. He's been building another family. The smart thing, the thing every advice column and TV drama tells you to do, would have been to confront him immediately. Scream, throw things, demand answers, call my mother, blast him on social media, tell his boss, make a scene. Let the large rage out, just in one spectacular explosion, but I didn't do any of that. I stood up, carefully placed the paper back in the envelope and hid it in my winter coat pockets. Then I made myself breakfast and went to work like nothing had changed. Because something had shifted in me during those minutes on the kitchen floor. Something cold and precise. If Marcus had been playing the long game, then I could play one too. But mine would have an ending he would never see coming. So that first week, I watched him. Like I watched him, all right. The way he checked his phone constantly, angling it away from me. How he would volunteer to grab groceries and return 2 hours later with 3 items. His casual mentions of the gym session that never seemed to produce results. All those small inconsistencies I'd written off as normal married life suddenly clicked into focus like a photograph developing. He had no idea I knew. His behavior didn't change at all, and he kissed me goodbye every morning with the same distracted affection. Asked about my day with the same half attention while scrolling through his phone. We existed in the same house like polite roommates, and he seemed perfectly content with it. I was not content, but I was patient. So I started with public records. Spent my lunch breaks at the library using their computers to search family court databases and found the case filings, years of them, all neatly settled with confidentiality orders. The mother had requested privacy due to domestic safety concerns. I wondered what that meant. What had he done to her? What had he threatened? So I hired a PI I found on Google. It was an online service, nothing dramatic, just a basic background check and address verification. Cost me $200. It came back in 72 hours. 2 children, same mother, living in an apartment complex I've driven past 100 times. The investigator confirmed Marcus's name on the child support case and provided dates that overlapped with our marriage. So I ordered certified copies of every public filing I could access, paid the court fees with cash, and built a folder that grew thicker each and every week. Then I opened a bank account. I opened one all right, a small credit union across town where Marcus would never think to look. I didn't drain our joint account, that would be too obvious. I just quietly redirected my direct deposits, then transferred exactly what I normally contributed to our shared expenses back each month. On paper, nothing changed, but in reality, I was building a financial wall between us, brick by invisible brick. So I consulted with 3 different divorce attorneys over the course of 2 months. Never hired any of them, not yet, but I learned the landscape. Learned that in our state, hidden children constituted financial fraud. Learned about strategic separation timelines and asset protection. I learned that Marcus's careful secret, it had actually built my case for me piece by piece and documented, baby. So one attorney recommended a forensic accountant. I met with her in a little, office building downtown. Showed her 7 years of bank statements I'd printed from our online portal, and she went through them with a highlighter and found patterns that I missed. ATM withdrawals every Friday near the other women's neighborhood, Venmo payments to people I've never heard of, small, steady financial drains that added up to thousands. He's been siphoning money for years. This is textbook financial abuse. I didn't feel abused, I felt stupid. But I took her analysis and added it to my folder. The hardest part was living with him while building my exit. Every morning I woke up next to a stranger wearing my husband's face. Every dinner we shared in silence felt like a performance, and I became eerily polite, almost robotic. Asked him to pass the salt. Commented on the weather, mentioned I wanted to learn more about our budget, and could he review some paperwork with me? He signed everything that I put in front of him. Insurance updates, utility transfers, a quitclaim deed modification that shifted our mortgage ownership from 50-50 to 70-30 in my favor, and I buried a stack of property tax documents and retirement account beneficiary forms. He barely glanced at it, just scrawled his little cheating signature across while watching a basketball game on his phone. Oh, the Mavericks are up 15. Oh, you're really on top of things, honey, he said absently. Just trying to be responsible, I said. I was being responsible, all right, responsible for my own survival. I moved my valuables slowly. A box out of my grandmother's jewelry disappeared into a storage unit I rented under my maiden name. Photo albums from before I met him, my favorite books, things he would never notice were gone because he never really seen them in the first place. Yep. I installed 2 cameras in our living room and kitchen, the kind marketed for home security, completely legal in a shared space. I told Marcus they were for package theft prevention. He shrugged and forgot about them within a day. They captured him coming home at odd hours, taking phone calls in a hushed tone, and lying about where he has been. One night, he said he was at the gym. So I drive past the gym, obviously, and his car's not there. Duh. I logged into a password-protected note app along with the date and time, and I've been keeping this log for months. The evidence is overwhelming. I contacted the mother of his children just one time. Not to confront her or cause drama, I needed legal documentation, and she could provide dates I couldn't access. So I sent a careful, brief message through the case portal explaining who I was and what I discovered, asking only timeline clarification. She responded within an hour. Her message was weary but not unkind. She confirmed everything, said Marcus had begged her to keep quiet, and promised he was going to leave me soon. Told her I did not understand him the way that she did, the usual script. She also said, "I'm sorry you're going through this. He's very good at making people believe him." I thanked her and never contacted her again. She had her own battles and I had mine. By month 4 of my silent preparation, I'd stopped cooking for Marcus. He didn't notice. And I stopped asking about his day. He didn't notice. I stopped wearing my wedding ring around the house, and he didn't notice that either. I did notice, though, when he applied for a personal loan without telling me. Found the credit inquiry on my monitoring app. Yeah, busted. $5,000 from an online lender, approved and dispersed. I had no idea where that money went, but my forensic accountant would find out eventually for me. So I picked my exit date carefully. A random Wednesday in March. Marcus had exactly a full day of meetings according to the work calendar he still shared with me out of habit. 8 hours minimum where he would be unreachable. I rented an apartment the week before. 1 bedroom, quiet small little complex, month-to-month lease. Paid the deposit with money he didn't know I had. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I laid next to him listening to his breathing and thinking about the woman I've been when we got married. Oh, she was optimistic. She was trusting. She believed in a partnership and honestly, building a life together. She was real. He's never been in a real life with me, not once. At 7 a.m., I got up like always, showered, dressed in jeans and sweater, made coffee, and Marcus was still asleep. He'd start sleeping in pretty late now, and I wasn't there to wake him up gently. See, I loaded my car with bags I packed the night before. 3 suitcases, 2 boxes, everything else was already in storage or it didn't matter. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker. Beside it, I placed a sealed envelope with his name written across the front in the neatest handwriting I could muster. Inside was a single page. I hand-wrote it weeks ago and revised it a dozen times until the words were exactly what I wanted. It says, "Marcus, by the time you read this, legal proceedings will already be in motion. I know about the children. Don't contact me. Ever." That was it. No accusations, no emotion, no explanation. I let him wander. I let him panic. Let him feel the ground drop out from under him the way that I had when I opened that envelope. I did not include any evidence. That would all come through my attorney. The letter was just a breadcrumb, a psychological tactic, confusion that I sharpened into a weapon. I drove to my new apartment and unlocked, the door and started unboxing everything by myself. It took 3 trips and the place was small and empty and it was mine. I sat on the floor in the middle of the living room and felt lighter than I had in years. At noon, my attorney filed a divorce petition, full evidence, packet attached, child support records, forensic accounting reports, timeline documentations, signed mortgage modification, camera footage, the personal loan inquiry. Yeah, everything. Simultaneously, she filed for a financial restraining order preventing Marcus from moving or hiding assets. And then, I blocked his number. His email, his social media, blocked his family too. I'd already warned my HR department that he might show up, give them a photo, explained I was leaving an unsafe situation, and they took it serious. By 5 p.m., Marcus would be home. He would see the empty closet, the missing boxes, the ring on the counter, and yeah, he read the letter. He tried to call me and he got nothing. I didn't have to imagine his panic. I lived in a panic state for months while gathering evidence. Now it was his turn. And that's probably why it feels so good. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's been 6 weeks since I left. I promised myself I wouldn't post an update until things settled. And they finally have, at least enough to breathe. Marcus showed up at my office the day after I left. I was in a meeting when security called my extension. They had a very agitated man in the lobby demanding to see me. I'd already briefed them, so they escorted him out before he could cause a scene. He tried twice more that week. The 3rd time, they threatened to call the law. After that, he kinda stopped. His attorney contacted mine within 48 hours of the filing. The first letter was aggressive, claims of forgery, accusations that I'd stolen marital assets, demands I return to the house immediately. My attorney responded with a 3-inch stack of documentation and a polite invitation to review the evidence before making further accusations, because that could be considered slander. The second letter was much quieter. Turns out, the child support case was just the beginning. Once my forensic accountant started pulling threads, the whole tapestry unraveled. The personal loan he's taken out, it was gambling debts, can you believe it? I didn't even know he knew how to gamble. He's been betting on sports for years, even horse betting, losing steadily, using cash advances and payday loans to cover the losses and double down. The child support agency, alerted by our divorce filing, recalculated his payment based on his actual salary, which was way higher than he reported to them. He now owns $17,000 in back support. The mortgage modification he signed without reading, that document was completely legal and properly notarized. His attorney asked why he agreed to it, and Marcus apparently claimed that I tricked him, but the timestamp showed that he had the documents for 3 days before signing, and his signature appeared on 7 different pages. Hard to argue duress. Under state law, the hidden children constituted grounds for fault-based divorce, which meant the typical 50-50 asset split no longer applied. My attorney, he negotiated from a position of strength. I get the house. I get our savings account. I get half his retirement fund, which was actually substantial, and he would be responsible about that at least. I walked away with 0 debt because the gambling losses and personal loans were classified as marital waste. Money he spent secretly for his own benefit, which meant he was alone and responsible. The court also awarded me temporary spousal support. Not a fortune, but enough to cover my expenses when I rebuilt. The judge was not really sympathetic to Marcus's situation, you can imagine. His double life collapsed in a spectacular slow motion. The other woman, her name Jennifer, is learning eventually, and she's received an updated child support order with significantly higher monthly payments. She's been struggling financially because Marcus has been underreporting his income to minimize that he owed her. Oh yeah, and now she was finally getting what she deserved, which meant Marcus was hemorrhaging money in 3 directions: child support, spousal support to me, and debt payments to the gambling. So, I heard through a mutual grapevine that he moved into a studio apartment on the bad side of town, sold his vehicle and bought something dirt cheap, stopped going to the gym entirely and could not afford the membership even though it's only $10. I should have felt triumphant, but mostly I felt tired. My therapist helped me process. We talked about betrayal and trust and, that kind of stuff. I didn't even blast him on social media or tell his family or call his boss. I simply stopped protecting him from the consequences of his own choices. Every document he signed voluntarily. You give him enough rope, he's the one who jumps off himself. I planted a garden at my new apartment, tomatoes, herbs, flowers. Something about putting my hands in soil and nurturing small green things helped me remember I could create life instead of just documenting death. I reconnected with friends I drifted away from during my marriage, had dinners and movie nights and conversations that did not involve strategizing or evidence gathering, and laughed without calculating what it might cost me later. Yeah, I started sleeping through the night for once. Marcus sent me a long email about what? 3 weeks after I left? My attorney advised me to not read it, so I deleted it without opening it. Whatever he had to say, whatever excuses or apologies or justifications he crafted, I don't need them. They won't change anything. They wouldn't give me back the years I lost. Final update. Hey guys. So, my divorce finalized exactly 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty happy about it. I drove to the courthouse myself alone, sat in the waiting room with a dozen other people ending their marriages, and signed my name on the decree when the clerk called me up. The whole process took 11 minutes. 9 years of marriage dissolved in less time it takes to watch a sitcom. I didn't cry. I've done all my crying months ago, back when I was still sleeping next to a stranger and pretending everything was fine. Well, Marcus wasn't there. In our state, you don't have to appear in person if everything's been settled beforehand. His attorney filed the paperwork remotely, and I wonder if he felt relieved or devastated. I wonder if he understood yet what he lost. I don't wonder very hard, though. So, the financial terms are permanently in place. He'll be paying child support for the next 14 years minimum until his youngest child turns 18. Between that and the spousal support, he's locked into a lifestyle he can barely afford for the foreseeable future. My forensic accountant estimated he'll be functionally broke until his mid-50s. Unless he becomes a millionaire sports gambling. I got a new job. Better pay, better hours, closer to my apartment. It's kind of an opportunity that I avoided during my marriage because Marcus complained when I work late or traveled for conferences. And now there's no one to complain to and I'm thriving. I visited my safe deposit box last week and took out 3 envelopes. Envelopes I prepared months ago, envelope A and envelope B. The evidence packets I'm keeping for legal purposes, just in case he tries to modify the agreement someday. But envelope C, the backup letter I wrote in case I needed one financial piece of leverage. I destroyed, shredded it in the bank's lobby and threw the pieces away. I don't need leverage anymore, it's over. I check the mail now without flinching. Every envelope is just an envelope. Every unexpected letter is usually junk mail or a bill or even a coupon from Kroger. Nothing that will detonate my world. I think that's what peace feels like. So people keep asking if I'm angry, if I hate him, if I want revenge. But the truth is much simpler and more boring than you can expect. I don't think about him almost at all. He's a chapter in my history, a mistake I learned from, a problem I solved methodically and completely. He does not occupy space in my mind the way that he used to. I didn't need to destroy him publicly. I did not need to humiliate him or expose him or make him suffer theatrically. I just handed him the consequence of the life he chose. Gravity did the rest. Oh yeah, I planted a garden. It's flourishing. The tomatoes came in heavy this year, and I've been giving them away to my neighbors, and I even learned how to grow cilantro. I joined a book club, started hiking on the weekends, and I met someone. It's a cat, okay, I adopted a cat, who sleeps on my pillows and purrs like a small engine. I'm learning that my life looks like something it can look like when it's actually mine. I don't know. I'm on the other side now, and it's beautiful here. But let me know, would you have gone more nuclear, or would you have handled it like I did? Let me know.